So I'm down at the Hillsborough County's John B. Sargent Park. It's where they operate the canoe escape. They maintain the canoe line to it's the south run, but it really kind of runs northwest from here, but ends up south in the Hillsborough River. This is the Hillsborough River. But this group maintains it to the west. The east is not maintained. It heads up into the 17 runs and Flint Creek and all that. I'm be going to the west little ways, just looking for something I found on Google Earth, and I'm gonna see if I can get there from the river, but we'll talk about that later. But that's Canoe Escape. This is John B. Sargent Park out on off of 301 northeast of Tampa, about 35 miles out of town, I guess. I'll check in later. So I'm leaving out of Hillsborough County's John Sargent Park. It's where they operate the Canoe Escape concession. They have a nice little boardwalk, nice hiking trails down along the river, but you can also, through Canoe Escape, rent kayaks and canoes and take a one-way trip down the river, I think as far as Trout Creek. So, good 3/4 of a day, really, if you wanted to, and they pick you up on the hour. So they do, I think it's hourly shuttles on the half hour through about 5:30 p.m. I don't know the rates, I think it's about $50. But they also maintain the river for that segment. So if a tree, falls or something, they get out there and chainsaws and cut it, which you're not allowed to do anywhere else. You can't go up into the 17 runs area, the Dead River area, and just start cutting trees out of the way, which makes 17 runs so difficult. It's not just navigation, but to make that run from the Hillsborough River State Park to this park, for instance, you're going to have to get out of your kayak or canoe and either climb over logs or swim under logs and push your craft along. You might have to get out and drag it around the bank. That's, you aren't going to see any people up in there, which is kind of nice, but you need to know what you're in for. So what I've got here is I kind of look at Google Earth and just, a little bit of wanderlust. I just kind of ponder what's this spot and that spot and why does this road go there and stuff. And in the middle of this big, giant, swampy Hillsborough River wilderness area, there's a big dry mound. And not only that, but it's on a point where the river actually wraps around it. So I spotted that on Google Earth, and I went and set place marks using Google Earth to set a couple of place marks. One's called High Ground, one's the Northeast Pass that I want to kind of find to figure out what that's like to that parcel. But through some kind of save as iterations, you can take those place markers, waypoints, save them in through Google Earth, and then as a certain type of files, and then import those into a Garmin handheld. And honestly, I can't right now remember the file extensions, but the guy that teaches you how to do it is this Saudi Arabian dude over in Saudi Arabia, and they're an off-road club. He speaks very good English, and he kind of takes you through it. So that, look at the size of that gator, it's a big gator. That's how I learned how to do it. So I'd go there, just search Google Earth to Garmin or GPS, and that's how you do it. So I've got it now on my little handheld, and I've set it to, take me there. And it's about 2 miles down this river, and then I'll start looking. Now, I'm probably not the only person, as weird as it sounds, to do stuff like this. I'm not the only person that probably looks for unusual features and then goes and finds them. So the first thing I'm looking for is just signs of somebody's come before me, cut branches in the path, because the sides of this river are, I don't know what you say, but they're not well defined. You got a lot of bushiness and brush and lily pads and stuff to get through before you get anywhere near, ground. And in most of it, you don't get to dry ground. You just get the mushy kind of muck. But depending on the time of year, this is definitely high ground, but it's a ways back. So I'm either gonna have to cut a path, or hopefully find something somebody else has done before me, and that way I can get out there and just kind of just look around, explore, you know, stuff like that. But anyhow, we'll just get on down this river and see how it goes. Get back up in this creek right here. If you look up in this little tributary creek, there's a roseate spoonbill. And I'm not sure what they eat, but I know if they're getting enough of it, they got a nice rose color, nice pink color to them, kind of like a flamingo. But let me see if I can get out of that. That's nice. Try to not spook them. Back there just hanging around with the... That's a big gator. That's a big gator. He don't care about me neither. You'll see him when I turn around. I don't like going right at him, you know, harass him. I don't like to make them move because the water's cold. Pretty chilly for them, so they're out in the sun, you know, trying to regulate their body temperatures. I don't like to make them dip in the water if they don't have to. But I'll turn around here and get a look at him on the GoPro. I'm probably 20 feet from it. It doesn't care about me at all. We'll come into view in a second. You can see it back there. What they do. I was in that 17 runs one time, and the one about that size, I don't know if that's 6 or 7 feet, maybe 8 feet there, but one about 6, 7 feet was on a log, a big log too, a big round log. And it's kind of horizontal like that, but there they don't trim them. You have to go under. And I actually tried to kind of get him off that log because I had to swim under it or get out or something. I had to figure out how to get around that thing, and I'd be damned if that guy didn't sit there the whole time and watch me get out of my kayak, swim under it. And I did it quick too, swim under it and get back in and leave. He never budged. The water was probably about like this. I don't know, it's water temperature. You know, it might be 66 or 68 maybe. But, you know, they just don't like it. They like it warmer if they're going to get in it. So they don't get in it easily once they're out, you know, basking like that. But something like that, if it got a hold of you, you'd be in big trouble. You'd be in big trouble. So I don't mess with them. You're not supposed to mess with them. No reason to mess with him, but I mean, I had to get around him. He didn't care, or she, I don't know. So we've gone probably maybe less than 2 miles, not quite 2 miles yet. I swear I've seen every kind of water bird there is, kingfishers, but the thing I mean, I'm going with the current right now, which is nice, you know, for that. If you're going to do that canoe escape, you go with the current, so you can rest and it'll keep you moving a little bit. It's flowing pretty good right now, but you got to get back, and typically it's about 1.5 times as long, one and a half times as difficult to get upstream as it is downstream in this type of current. I tend to stay on the way back close to the edge, you know, stay out of the highest velocities. The highest velocities are in the center of the stream, and because of friction or whatever. So I stay closer to the edge. But you can't always do that. You got to get around trees and stuff, and sometimes you get around these trees, it puts you in the stream flow. So you got to keep a little, keep a little energy. Don't go downstream till you start developing blisters, because you'll suffer them the whole way back. Yeah, that sort of thing. Just be aware that it's going to be 1.5 times as long and 1.5 times as difficult getting back. So I'm not going very far. I've been about 2 miles, and I just think I've probably got another 1/4 to 1/2 to go. Going this thing. We'll see. Look at this big boy. Went ahead and got out of the kayak just to kind of give you a chance to see, what it's like back in here. Because, like I said, that dry ground would be kind of unusual. Because you could trek off over this, and most of the year this will be underwater, and come up on a stream that's almost as large as the one you just left. So it just stays real flat and real marshy back in here. But there's some big trees. And the bird sounds, I'm making noise now so everything's quiet, but the bird sounds are unbelievable. I'm going to come up on this bend here, and I want you to look at these big cypress trees behind me. And you can see the high water mark and how much higher the water gets in this river. That white stain on the trees is a lichen, I think they call it, kind of an air plant, almost like a moss, but it doesn't get wet. So where that bottom of that white is, you can go tree to tree and check it, and it'll be the same elevation. Once it's wet, it's dead forever. If water sets on it. But that, you can see behind me now, that's how high this water will get in here on I guess, fairly routine basis. Maybe not every year, maybe not every 5 years, but that's several feet. And that several feet covers thousands and thousands and thousands of acres in this area, and that's why that piece of high ground there is so unusual, and I'm going to go find it because there ain't much of it for a long ways around here. Good news is it keeps development out. There's nowhere to build. Well, I went, I don't know, maybe 2/10 of a mile too far. I thought this GPS beeped at me, but I guess not. But until I was starting to make the bend that I spoke about earlier. But that's just the thing. You look off in there, and it don't look any different than anything else. So that's why I wanted to find this spot. It's going to be back a ways from what looks to be the river's edge. but I'm just gonna go try to find it. It's just an unusual formation. I don't know what it's all about. I'm gonna try to find it. There's a spoonbill around this kind of big clump of greenery up here. I'm gonna try to. They're a little skittish, so I'm gonna try to just get around it and get a nice picture of it or video of it. But they're skittish. They don't stick around. Good. It's not seems to be too bothered by me. There he goes. Alright, I'm going. I got him. You know, now that the GPS gets me near to what the points I've picked off of Google Earth, I do, when you look back up in there, you do kind of see just some brightness, just some, you know, daylight. Doesn't look quite as much like a never-ending swamp. But so now I'm going to look for signs of someone else being here, you know, some kind of biologist or something, where they might come in and out of here for some reason, I don't know, or just some other curious nut that glares at Google Earth Pro all day. I don't know what that is, but it wants to be heard. It's really loud. I had to turn the kayak around so that the directional microphone would pick up on it, but if you know what that is, leave it in the comments down below. It's not shy. This is our spot, so according to Google Earth, this is as close as we get on the river, so I'm going to find a place to beach it. I haven't really seen anything. It's obviously a path, so I'll just make my own. We'll just see how it goes. We're just going to beach it right here and head due north. Alright, so we got the kayak pulled up, and see, this is what we'll cross, but you can tell there's some high ground right there. It's not very far, so we're just going to trek on up there and just see what's there. So I got a north bearing, and I'm going to head that way. There's swallowtail kites. Swallowtail kites. We'll get a better look at them from the clearing. Alright, here we go. See, when you get up here now, look, I'm in oak leaves, a big blanket of oak leaves, and you got these kind of these soft palmetto, and they don't like water. People associate them with swamps because they typically ring the swamps, but they don't like water. So I think they're so hydrophobic that can mark your 100-year floodplain. I don't think they get wet at all. They don't tolerate any standing water that I know of. So this is definitely high ground already, and I can tell there's some hardwoods and some clearing up ahead. So I'm gonna keep on going and see what we find. started back over in that direction, and I came around. I was hoping to find, I just named it on the GPS, the North West Pass, and it's a pass to a kind of Morris Bridge Road, and there's a park, another park there, and there's a place where historically a guy named Morris built a bridge, used to charge people to use it, but kind of connected the kind of turpentine fields and the logging industry and travel up around what became 301 eventually. So I don't see an obvious cut there, so I'm not going to kind of go pushing through this stuff. It's kind of late in the evening, and a little bit, I'm a little bit foolhardy actually for being out here. I mean, I'm essentially barefoot, but it's March in Florida, and it's, you know, snakes and whatnot. But I just kind of move along slow. I carry this bully stick with me, and I just kind of keep it in front of me and just move along slow and steady. I've seen a couple of snakes, but just a couple of black racers and a kind of a brown banded water snake, which is sort of weird because I'm not really that close to the water, and usually when I see those, they're on the water. But so anyhow, it's just real pretty. It's starting to rain a little bit now, and it's funny, these gallberries are sort of kind of opening up to receive it. You see, you're starting to get a little bit of blossoming. It's pretty little pink flowers, and they weren't here an hour ago, so I don't know. But so I'm going to push on back, and then hopefully my kayak's still there, and well, we'll check in with you later. So I carry this bully stick around with me on the kayak for these trips, mainly to get yourself off logs, to pry your kayak off logs and to push off of things, so that you're not using your paddle, because you probably aren't going to break this, but you'd be better off breaking a bully stick than breaking your paddle, of course. And it's just handier, you know. It's got a little stubby end on it. I can use it for a walking stick and for shooing snakes. And honestly, I think I could keep a gator off of me as long as I stayed in retreat mode. I think I could at least keep it off of me if I got somehow just snuck up on one by accident. But I ain't sneaking up on nothing. I make a good bit of noise with this thing in the grass and kind of move at a slow, steady pace. And the few times that I've seen big, dangerous snakes, big rattlers, they've surprised me because I've been still. So I think if I had kept moving, I wouldn't have known they were there. But it's just times where I've stopped for whatever. So I said the word stopped, so it's stopped. You can't. With voice activation, you can't say certain words. The video function ended. So, but yeah, the times where I've been still, taking a break or eating lunch back when I was a land surveyor, and then you look over and there's a big giant snake. I think if we just kept moving through there, we'd have never known it was there. But it's kind of drizzling. It's real pretty, real pleasant. It's March, middle of March. And I'm just gonna keep on kind of hoofing it until I mark the trail where I entered from. Look at these baby breath. They're just all over this trail. I mean, I've worn my shoes most of this trip, but I've been barefoot on a lot of it too. So it's just kind of a little grass bed down there, and the shoes were kind of muddy, so I took them off. But yeah, so I marked the trail back there where I entered it from the river. So I don't go past, because I tell you, you can't tell one thing from another in here. And I got the GPS too. But so anyhow, I guess we'll just keep on moving down this trail to see where we end up. There's my kayak, so that's a good sign. I'm trying to shoot this at a little higher frame rate so that I can pan a little bit. You see, you just came off that high ground there. You can kind of see the brightness. That's the edge, and then it's that big giant field of gallberry. And then you step down this border, kind of the last cabbage palm, into what is really not the stream bed, but certainly the floodway most of the year. And you can see the water stain on the trees. But you see the yellow paddles of my kayak. Just beyond that is the Hillsborough River. So I'm gonna go tromping on through that and get the kayak and head on back. All right. So we're back in the kayak. Heading back to the east towards John Sargent Park. Just gonna be an easy paddle. Pretty wide in here, so the stream's not too bad. But I'll tell you, if you're ever doing something like this and you're going with the current, you know you have to turn around and go back. Before you're too tired out, turn around and just paddle for 100 yards or so, see what it's going to be like. It's a big difference. The thing is, out here too, as it gets later in the day, you get kind of a sea breeze, kind of a wind shift. And you can get the wind in your face too, and it gets sort of channelized down in this between these trees. It can make it tough. It's not bad at all right now. Pretty good current, but not too bad. So I'll just be paddling for a couple of miles and just enjoying it. It's got a real light drizzle. I mean, it's just like fairy dust or something. I don't know. You'll see a tiny little droplet on the water every 3 or 4 feet. It's just real nice and cool. It really kind of opened up the flora, I don't know if the humidity drops and plants kind of see it coming, but man, everything just kind of blossomed all of a sudden. But anyhow, so I'm just going to keep on paddling and we'll catch in with you later. I think with the directional mic you're not going to hear it, but you hear the grunts of these little wading birds back there. They're just kind of grouping up and, I don't know, feeling communal. They're just back there grunting away. Little hoots and grunts. I think my next toy might be some sort of a handheld mic. That'd be cool with these different birds and stuff you hear out here. One of the coolest sounds out here is the trees knocking. When it's really blowing good, a nice steady breeze, they make this just unbelievable sound. It just puts you to sleep. It's the tops of these trees just rubbing against each other. God, it's like a lullaby. I'll do that. I might get me some kind of little handheld microphone. You heard them. They don't like me being around. Oh, look at them go. Oh, shit. They just took off up there. Beautiful white bodies against that green. I had to put the camera battery down back there. I'll bring more battery. But, I mentioned that breeze earlier, and here it comes. It's a pretty good breeze on my face. And here's a place with a bunch of trees coming up now, falling through. You'll see the currents really moving through here. And the thing is, there ain't no other way back. You got to paddle your way back, and you're the only motor, so you got to leave some in the tank. And that includes hand blisters and wrist sprains and stuff like that. So you just kind of be careful. There's really nobody out here policing this area. I'm pretty sure you could get cell coverage. I'm pretty sure you could call maybe the sheriff's office. It's not about 25 now. But you just gotta be careful, you know. That place where I was earlier, there ain't nobody out there. I mean, something like you get bit by a snake or something. I mean, you gotta hoof it out and get to an emergency room. And you're gonna have to have your wits about you to call as soon as you get cell service and let them know where you're gonna be, when, and you know they can't get to you. They're gonna be waiting for you at the park up here. So you're gonna paddle, you know, 3.5 miles upstream. Hopefully you don't, you know, die before you get there.